Hi, good morning all. Today we are going to do a presentation about EHS HL7 VistA framework. Firstly, before go to explain what is the framework, I should go to define these points. What is HL7, HL7 mission, and HL7 vision? So, HL7 International is one of several American National Standard Institute accredited standards developing organization SDOs operating in the healthcare arena. HL7 mission. HL7 provides standards that improve care delivery, optimize workflow, reduce ambiguity, and enhance knowledge transfer among all stakeholders, including healthcare providers, government agencies, the vendor community. What is HL7 vision? Is to create the best and most widely used standards in healthcare. So, EHS integration. EHS has started to apply and implement VistA on many government hospitals and clinics over all the Jordan. In addition to develop and refine tune integrations between Hakim project and other healthcare systems.
Can you get the lights turned down so we can see the screen? Thank you. Sorry.
No. And there are an EHS demands for this integration.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay. In Hakim project, we have been forced to integrate with a billing system of the client because it has a different workflow and procedure than that exists in the VistA. And there is another case that there are sites that have their own EHR system, and we just need to integrate with this product to use some specific VistA modules and implemented applications such as CPRS. All of these factors lead us to integrate with their existing system. But why we decided to use HL7 package in VistA? There are many factors, requirements and specifications that lead us to use HL7 as a solution for integration rather than any other solution. So for example, continuous change in business requirements, minimize the effort and steps to change the code to match the changes in the requirements, minimize the developer's intervention with the changes. These requirements and many others that lead us to use the HL7 package or to use the HL7 as a solution rather than any other solutions. So, we have started using HL7 framework or HL7 package in VistA, and during that we faced some issues, and from those issues we decided to create and implement our developed HL7 framework in VistA. And this framework, my team Murat will explain for you those issues and what are the framework and what are the main components in the framework and how we implement it. Finally, it's supposedly to release our developed framework to the open source community as one of the most important contribution by EHS Jordan for the past couple of years. So, now I'm leaving the table for my colleague Murad to talk about this framework in more details. Thank you.
Good morning. How are you? First of all, why did we need to create a framework at the beginning? We, as a developer, developers needed to make the development process much faster and the integration process to be an easy work to do. So the two issues we had with HL7 basically is how to build the message itself and how to trigger it. This is the main two issues. So at the beginning, we made the version 1 framework. Basically, it was hard-coded. The data inside the fields. It's hard-coded. But the only dynamic thing we could do is to choose the segments inside the message. Also, we tried in the first version to standardize the message itself, so it can contain as much data as it can. But that solution didn't work because some hospitals needed some customized data to be sent. The other issue is the trigger. We had to choose between 3 options. One is to implement a code inside the routines, inside VistA, so it can trigger the message. But this will give us, it will be very hard to maintain the code in the future. The second option is to use fileman triggers or cross references. So, but there's some packages like that and some maybe pharmacy that directly insert the data directly to the globals without using fileman APIs. So it didn't work too. So we had to use the GTM triggers for our solution to implement the triggers. So basically at the beginning we used to maintain the file for the triggers and send it to the administrators so they can load it into GTM. So basically those are the issues we had in the first version. The message building mostly is hard-coded and the trigger message was not clear and need to be standardized, triggering the message itself. And maintaining the changes was very hard and costly. So in version 2, we tried to solve the triggers. It's not an issue, it's more like to make it easy to maintain the triggers. So basically, we created a configuration file, so you can configure triggers using options rather than maintaining a file and sending to administrators. So this is the workflow that the GTM trigger, we used it to trigger the message. So the trigger, you can edit the options and you can activate and deactivate the triggers. There's a log that can show who activated or deactivated mainly. So by this, our integration team is now responsible for configuration of the triggers itself. So there's no need to attend to developer or administrator to load or change anything in the triggers. Regarding the framework itself, the other part, the building part, the HL7 framework, we call it UGO7. We have our namespace is UGO. So this is the main workflow that the framework work. At the beginning, the trigger framework or triggers the message. There's a trigger routine that's called by the trigger framework that initializes the HL7 environment variables and called the HL7 UGO7 message builder. Then calls the APIs inside the VistA HL7 package to transmit it to the other systems. Currently, version 2 covers only right now the building part. The receiving part, we're going to expand it in the future to add more features. The UGO7 or HL7 framework that is using the HL7 files like the HL7 segments and HL7 fields and HL7 VistA package. We've used these files and made our own configuration file that you can specify what the name of the message, what segments does it have, what fields do you want it to include, and you can simply choose a file in VistA. Let's say you want to send the update A08 from the patient file. So you can choose in the fields, you can choose the file you want to get the data from and what field. It will get it for you, insert it in the field dynamically, and build the message completely, then send it to the other systems. That's okay. This is the workflow, the builder. So basically the message I just